Shalom, shalom, everybody. It's your brother New Breed coming through with another live stream. As you enter the chat, make sure you pound that like button. The slaying of high profile rapper Takeoff is one of the industry's biggest cover ups. And notice I said one of them. You know, you got a host of others. You got Biggie, you got Pac, and the list goes on and on. When I say it's one of the industry's biggest cover ups, what I mean by that is everyone involved in the industry, the ones that people don't tend to point out. I'm talking about the hip hop police, the CIA, the FBI. Yeah, they're all part of the industry. See, since the inception of hip hop, there's always been hip hop police involved while events were growing, while sold out shows were being jam packed, while violence was growing in the community, particularly with gangster rap. And it's been noted, duly noted several times by former CIA operatives. One man in particular by the name of, believe his last name is, well, his name is John Homeston, a retired CIA agent, admitting that the CIA glamorized criminality and promotion of gangster rap in order to fulfill the private prison industrial complex. And so when you talk about hip hop, particularly gangster rap, the kind of rap that the Migos was making, you're talking about there's always been a level of agencies involved. There's always been FBI, CIA. There's always been these individuals involved. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this whole entire situation screams corruption on a whole nother level. This screams all kind of cover-ups. You know, what we got to understand is if the FBI were to do their job, if the police were to do their job, there will be criminal enterprises being exposed. There will be a lot going on right now. We'll be seeing the whole Prince family, and I'm gonna say allegedly, we'll be seeing the whole Prince family allegedly in cuffs being hauled off. But that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing a mass cover up. We're seeing ideological subversion. What they're doing is promoting chaos right now. So people can't even think. People can't even use logic anymore. They're basically corrupting the youth into nihilism. That's what's taking place right now, brothers and sisters. This is psychological warfare in itself. See, anytime these rituals are conducted, it comes with warfare. It comes with psychological warfare. That everything that ensues after the actual deed is what the goal was, and that's chaos. This predictive programming, getting us prepared to live in a land where law enforcement will not be enforcing the law. It's to spin everybody into this narrative. And that's why you got certain laws being passed in Chicago in the near future, which everybody is calling a purge law. It's predictive programming on a high level, and it screams ritual. It's a blood sacrifice, allegedly. And I want to talk about something interesting. I want to talk about Alpo, who actually passed last Halloween, October 31st. Yeah. For those who are unfamiliar with Alpo Martinez was a well-known drug dealer who did Fed time. For those who've seen the movie Paid in Full, he was the grimy dude. You know, Cameron was playing him. The dude that went to DC for a while, allegedly caught a lot of bodies, came back to NYC, uh, thinking that he was going to be the king again. Ended up doing some Fed time, ended up dying last year on Halloween. And I want to go to this interesting interview where FBI agent reveals a bombshell into the murder of Alpo. Yeah. They call him Rico in the movie, right? If I'm not mistaken. But this guy, right? He dies on Halloween. This murder is still unsolved, similar to the Takeoff murder. And we're going to draw some parallels here. And we're going to also go deeper into the Prince family so we can understand what's really taking place and understand that these are rituals being conducted. The FBI, CIA, they all in on it. A lot of times, these so called boss mob families, a lot of the times, ladies and gentlemen, they're not who you think they are. And that's what we got to understand. There's a lot of rappers that look like us, talk like us, or seem to be hip hop pioneers who are actually feds. When Kanye went on the tangent and he was calling P. Diddy a fed, I believe Kanye to be telling the truth. I don't think he was saying that as some type of diss. I think he was being real that Diddy is a fed and he's not the only fed in the industry. There's a lot of feds. There's a lot of, and yeah, he called Jay-Z a fed, he called Diddy a fed. I believe that he's telling the truth. Some people just think that Kanye was insulting these people. No, these people, a lot of times, a lot of these rappers are allegedly working for the feds, FBI, CIA. They're honorary members. Now, I'm going to go into this former CIA agent dropping a bombshell about the murder of Alpo, who also died last Halloween. Let's continue.
Right. So let's jump over here to Alpo Martinez.
I didn't mean to go on and on with that answer, but
no. Talk as long as you want.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about Alpo Martinez. Take us back to what got him on the FBI's radar. Can you take us back to that? And
so, mind you, he was on the FBI's radar already. He was already on the FBI's radar, and nobody knows what happened to him on Halloween. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, let's go.
Your first time, finding out who he was and investigating him.
Well, I'm talking a little bit off the
Yo, people already dropping jewels in the chat. Somebody goes on to say, Kiki says, Rock Nation building is literally connected to LAPD buildings. Exactly. And remember when drill music was supposed to be canceled in NYC, there was meetings that was put together with the actual mayor. And all of that talk ceased to show you a lot of the times the record label feds, they got more power than the feds or the governors and the mayors and local law enforcement. They have more power than local law enforcement. Record labels do. Because there's more money involved. Let's continue.
Out of my element here because I wasn't as such running a drug investigation operation. Alpo was a drug dealer.
Right.
And our understanding at the time was that he got into trouble in New York. I think over the murder of Richie Porter now, in terms of my understanding of how it worked. And he came to basically hide out to DC. The first thing that happened to him when he came to DC was he started distributing drugs around DC and in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And he got shot by a couple of guys from Northeast, which was not unusual in those days.
That wasn't unusual at all to get shot in Northeast and DC or Southeast for that matter. For those who don't know, that's my hometown. So I know how DC get down. They don't really take to outsiders like that coming in, moving weight. But it is what it is because Alpo still sustained for a while in DC and done a lot of dirt out there. But anyway, let's continue.
DC drug dealers didn't appreciate people that came in from out of town. And so they would, attack them, just because they came in from out of town. And I think that's what happened to him. He was put in the hospital, and my partner, Detective Angelo Parisi, went and interviewed him and got a pretty substantial amount of information from him because I think Alpo thought he was dying while he was in the hospital. But then,
so mind you, he was pretty much under protection. Alpo, a well-known drug dealer, he was in close communication with FBI. They knew who he was. They were more than likely coming to him while he was laid up in a hospital when he got shot in DC. This is a well-known drug dealer. So it's not even just hip hop itself. It's the whole it's money. It's follow the dollars. Follow the dollars. Follow the money. It's a paper trail. All these people are connected. So they were the FBI more than likely was beside him in his hospital bed. Yo, what happened? And let me tell you, a lot of these so-called rappers, bodyguards, these people that y'all hearing, and I ain't gonna name no names. Y'all figure it out. There's a lot of people who are coming with a lot of narratives right now on social media who are FBI, straight up feds. They got insight on certain things. They're pushing certain narratives because guess what? Their handler is telling them to get online and say certain things. So there's a couple well-known internet YouTube personalities, social media personalities that are feds, straight up FBI. And it is what it is. It just is what it is. All right, let's continue.
A couple of days passed where Angelo went and sort of discussed what he had found out from Alpo and determined that there was actually a case to be made, especially down in the Fredericksburg, Virginia area. And then when he went back to talk to him some more, by that point, he had been released from the hospital. And he was just in the wind. It's the simplest way to put it. And then we found out, because I was at the time was targeting Wayne Perry. He was the guy that I was supposed to put in jail.
Wayne Perry was pretty much the muscle of Rayful Evans, one of the biggest drug dealers. No, the biggest drug dealer in Washington, D.C. history, who ended up getting consecutive life sentences. Wayne Perry was the shooter. That man was pretty much like a serial killer, a mega maniacal psychopath that was trigger happy. Wayne Perry was out here just airing people out. He was airing women out for not giving them the phone number. He was one of those kind of guys that was just out there. But clearly the FBI was watching people in DC as well, watching what was going on. See, the FBI be in the midst and they know what's going on all the time with these people.
We found out that Wayne was working for and with Alpo and basically acting as his protector in DC. And so they went from, being out and about in the daytime to really becoming like vampires. They'd operate late at night. And so my problem at the time was Alpo had like 2 warrants for him, I think, out of New York. Maybe a kidnap warrant and maybe even the murder warrant. I'm not certain what it was. But I just needed to get him locked up, to get him out of the way, because he was basically interfering with my case. My guy wasn't acting the way he normally acted with Alpo there.
If you wait until...
See, peep what this FBI agent just said. Basically, he just needed to get Alpo out of the way and lock him up because he was interfering with his agent. He was interfering with his undercover. They always have undercovers among them. And it was interfering with how the guy was conducting field service. For instance, everybody in hip hop, they have somebody near them who is FBI. And this is, they're in close confines with these people. I'm talking about they hang with them, they smoke with them, they drink with them. It is what it is. They bump shoulders with them. They literally, it's to the point where in this game, FBI agents be these people's peers. Yeah, the Agent Smiths, so Stefano Idol said it right. Agent Smiths are running the damn industry. They are running the industry. Sean the Navigator says, after call my city out for this. I'm from Houston. They have Takeoff's blood on their hands, and I don't know of any brothers in the truth from Houston covering this. Right, right. That the thing is, like, they've created a lot of enemies. Just being in Atlanta, I know there's a lot of talks about Jay Prince attending the funeral. I'm gonna say this now. Nobody from that camp, nobody from that family or organization should attend that funeral. Nobody should attend that funeral on that side. Don't do it. I'm just gonna say that because I know the climate of Atlanta right now, and Atlanta is not happy with it. And I'm not here to promote no beef or anything like that. I think that's immature. I think that everybody involved knew what was going on, and this is what I believe. I'm putting it out here. The messy video was very revealing. It shows a setup. It shows an industry ritual. There's too many quote unquote coincidences for it not to be a ritual. You had Quavo sitting there on that bed looking at that contract in that industry. That's what has to be done. He looked at that contract. It says, listen, it had Migos on it. He was looking at the gun. Takeoff walks in the door, and all of a sudden, right next to Takeoff, there's an RIP with a Grim Reaper there. That's how they speak to the high ups. And this is why this murder has not been solved yet, because it's an alleged ritual. Now, I want y'all to think about it. There was a vehicle, a black SUV, tinted windows, speeding from the scene. I'm talking about just gunning, flying through all kind of lights, passing all kind of stores. And you telling me, with the technology that we have today, nobody can find out who was in that particular SUV? Nobody has the license plate. Listen, I'm gonna say this right now. The feds allegedly don't want to solve this murder. They don't want to solve the murder. It was a ritual. And we got to understand this is Satan's system right here. And the feds, they tie in to the industry. When we say the industry, we're not just talking about rappers. I want everybody to expand their minds, broaden their horizons. We're not just talking about rappers. Feds, CIA, FBI, hip hop police. And that goes on both camps. Don't doubt that Migos don't have FBI and CIA on their camps either. Now let's continue.
So I was kind of missing the boat on being able to put my case together.
And for the record, real people got love for Houston. Real people who understand how the industry works, they not beefing with a whole nother state. So let me just put that out here. For all the youngins out there watching, listen, don't get caught up in that kind of stuff. Because I know it's a lot of murmurs in the streets. This is an industry hit, allegedly. This don't have nothing to do with city to city, state to state. It's all industry stuff. All right, let's continue.
And luckily, I had a good confidential source who was able to give me a location where Alpo was going to be on a particular day at a particular time. And Angela.
Neek Hawk says, OMG, conspiracy theories y'all have. Have a blessed day. So I guess Miss Neek, she knows what happened to Takeoff then. And let me say this, because a lot of people believe that these are quote unquote conspiracy theories. Well, that's an interesting word in itself. Because a conspiracy theory would be somebody having a theory that somebody conspired to do something. Now, if somebody gets hit with three bullets, and that particular person is the only one who does not go home, right? I think it's beyond a theory. It's more of an observation to say, hey, maybe somebody lined that young man up. Maybe somebody set that person up. Because why is he the only one who didn't go home? He had 3 bullets. This man got shot in the head. Shot in the head. Let's make this clear. In order to hit somebody in the dome piece, it's purposeful. So, that term that y'all like to use because you don't like to use your minds, it really don't pay you. It really don't cost much to think. It really doesn't. Here you have a FBI, former CIA, FBI agent talking about Alpo who died last Halloween. So, you can think what you want. Critical thinking is at an all-time low. That's why I say that this is why I say this is psychological warfare. Something can be so apparent and people just can't see it. This is what you call ideological subversion, where people can't use their minds. They can't think. They believe everything the news tell them. They think everything is random. They think everything is relative. They think this whole thing is a freak accident. Common sense is no longer common. And all I'm trying to do is get people to use their minds, get people to think. Let's continue.
And a team of guys that worked on the drug side of the case, Scott Yao and some other guys, they made the arrest and put Alpo in jail. And for me, that was kind of like the end of it, because we never believed that he was ever going to cooperate. But what it came down to was, I think he sort of became aware of the fact that if he stayed in DC jail, Wayne would get at him and get rid of him. And I think he also realized that if he accepted the transfer back to New York, that if he went to New York, he was not going to last too long in whatever it was in those days, the Tombs, or I don't even know what you call it in New York.
Right.
And so there will be times where they will lock him up to actually keep him alive, or keep him out of harm's way, or keep him out of a way of certain people that were planted, who were field agents, undercover, like in too deep. Because there's a lot of those in hip hop. Smoke blunts, talk tough, act gangster. It's so many of them. So they would actually go, hey, listen, go arrest him. They'll have these warrants on standby. Hey, go arrest him for this because he's in the way of that. He's in the way of this particular investigation. So they always had their eyes on him. So you telling me on Halloween night, they don't know who off that boy? Alpo was a sacrifice as well. Your professional low says, when you become successful, you got to analyze everything as a setup. I mean, here's the thing. It should be quite clear what happened to that man based on the music video, based on the fact that nobody has been caught yet. Nobody has been charged with anything. And it's just crazy that nobody finds that suspicious. A lot of the times when a person's murder is not solved in the first 48 hours, that murder is not going to be solved. It's not going to be solved. Right, bro Lamont. Conspiracy theories is a neutralizing term that shuts down the cognitive system, ends all critical thinking. Let's leave that at that. I ain't going to read the rest of that because I told y'all that certain words are not allowed in the chat. Bro Merlot, I appreciate that, but I'm going to put you on timeout just because you might not have heard me when I said that in a previous stream. Certain words I don't even want in the chat because it triggers the algorithm. Let's continue.
The thing that he made a decision to do was to plead guilty to the Virginia case. And we then incarcerated him over in Virginia. At that point, he also realized that if he went to the federal correctional institution, that he was probably going to be dead there because the people in New York had plenty.
Wow, if he went to the federal correction center, he probably would have been dead there. Listen, he is basically telling us inadvertently that the feds, they don't protect people from actual that the feds know when a person is going to get lined up. That's what he's saying. The feds know when you about to get lined up. He said it without saying it. He said, listen, if you went to the federal corrections, he would have been gone there. He wouldn't have made it there. Wow. So the feds be knowing. Just like the feds know exactly who did Takeoff. They know exactly who did it. Listen, there's footage, there's camera footage that we haven't seen. A lot of the footage that y'all see floating around is just to promote chaos. A lot of it is doctored and edited. Better believe that bowling alley has footage. They know who did it. All right? Allegedly.
Plenty of contacts in the Bureau of Prisons. And I think that was what pushed him. He was basically put in a corner. Any way he looked, he was going to end up dead. So that was when he made the decision to plead guilty and accept, witness protection. So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
From that point, we had to debrief him and go over all the cases that he knew about. And
so when he went into witness protection, mind you, he died under witness protection. Feds had to know what happened. He died on Halloween too. Man, this is crazy.
He had to plead guilty to a substantial amount of cases. My recollection is he pled guilty to 14 homicides. And he got basically an interim sentence of 35 years.
And they let this man back into the streets. He pled guilty to 14 homicides to the FBI. He cooperated and they allowed this man back in the streets. So don't think for a second that they are not shooters, that are known shooters, known violent criminals in the streets walking this day that haven't cooperated with feds. And we talking about people who pulled the trigger multiple times, who are still in the streets. They're still in certain hip hop camps. They're still in certain groups. They're still in them streets. There's certain people, shooters, who have been informants. I'm telling you. This is how it works. Believe it, man. These people be snitching. Like they all. It's a lot of Fed games going on out here. And now listen, this really makes you think about your system. What are they actually set up to do? This really make you think about the FBI. It really puts some things in a perspective, don't it? Yeah, pretty much anything says there was plenty of cameras and witnesses, but people swear it was a coincidence. Exactly. Exactly.
And I think he did 30 of it.
So he cooperates. He obviously gets put in witness protection. He does his time. He gets out, and it almost seems like he's a comic book villainous character. We know everybody.
I would think that was how it was. I had several contacts with him, when I was dealing with him, but I didn't get a lot of, like personal FaceTime with him. But
so when he got out, he was in confines with the FBI. There was plenty of discussions. They were talking. They were probably going to go get lunch together, have coffee. He said it wasn't that much face-to-face, but, he was talking to Alpo. And Alpo still got lined up on Halloween night, on Halloween day.
Always sort of thought he was a smart, interesting character. A lot of people that I've put in jail over the years are boring and foolish and stupid, but he seemed to have a lot of charisma and a lot of, there's just too many good things about him that made him that you just looked at and you said, why the hell did he get into the criminal world? He could have done almost anything, especially, just with a personality like he had. He could have, he could have sold the Brooklyn Bridge to anybody that wanted to buy it. But the bottom line to that was that when you see somebody like that and they've made the decision to live the life that he did, and I'm sure it had to do with the money and the resources that he got from dealing drugs, but you just feel bad for him. But on the other hand,
you feel bad for him as an FBI operative, you feel bad for somebody who killed 14, 15 of our people, who sold masses of amounts of drugs to our people, who was destroying, killing, ruining households, making crack mothers, crack babies, having people morally degraded. You see how you see the relationship. Now, I just want y'all to pay attention to this. Do you see the relationship between FBI and this well-known homicidal maniac that was a drug dealer that was destroying our community? So now we see that the rabbit hole is a whole lot deeper than what meets the eye. This is bigger than hip hop. You have certain agencies that are in place not to stop us from destroying each other, but to just pretty much, in a sense, kind of be the overseers. Because at any time, at any given moment, all you drug dealers, all you nickel and dime people out there, the feds already know what you're doing. You're in the age of technology. Your cell phone can see everything. All the transactions that you're making, they all know what's going on. But they're not here to stop it. They're here to be overseers. You can tell by the relationship that he had with Alpo. And then when your time is up, they're going to let the streets get to you. When your time is up, it is what it is. And local law enforcement is a joke, pretty much. Because if that record label has the money, if there's a person who got that bread, money talks. We talk about other countries and how there's a lot of corruption going on with law enforcement. No, there's nothing more corrupted than law enforcement in America. How y'all think all these things are getting smuggled in the prison? There's certain people in jail becoming millionaires because that's how messed up our system is. People just don't even know how these streets really operate. They don't really know what's going on for real.
I had an important function to do. I had to get rid of who I thought was the beast of DC. I mean, from my viewpoint, Wayne Perry made Alpo seem mild.
Yeah, Wayne Perry was a maniac. I'm telling you, like, that's probably one of the worst killers in the world, as far as like black killers. One of the most black. He's probably, he has a lot of bodies, put it that way. But so did Alpo. But Wayne Perry was a nightmare in DC.
In terms of the stuff that was going on around him. And
all right, hold up real quick. Let's skip this ad. Thanks for the super chat. Sneak on the beat. I appreciate it. Thanks for the support.
Did what he did. And so for us to use the information that Alpo gave us.
Sean the Navigator, thanks for the $10 contribution, says facts. Everyone is in cahoots with the scandal. They're setting up traps by the second. Law enforcement, government agencies, and military are the biggest gangs out. That's just a fact. That's a whole fact right there. That's just what it is. See, everybody's too small-minded. We getting caught up in the pawns. I'm talking about as a whole. Most people are getting caught up in the pawns that's on the chessboard. No, the overseers, the kings, those are the FBI, CIA. They know what the hell is going on. But guess what? Just like your death row days back in the 90s, when you had feds, CIA, FBI, they were in confines with death row people. Just like they had hired police, law enforcement agents and Biggie's camp too in New York. Diddy is probably a fed himself. He probably been sworn in and everything. Yeah, it's management class. That's what they do. They manage, they manage everything. They oversee and they manage. That's it. They're not here to solve crimes. They following the money too. They following the bread too. It's just like it was back in the day. Ain't nothing new under the sun. This is why Tupac's murder wasn't solved. This is why Biggie's murder wasn't solved. See, anytime you see murders not getting solved, if you're intelligent, you should know, all right, this is Fed stuff right here. This right here is Fed games. Whoever's involved with this, they're connected with some known people, some people who got some authority within that state. Just like I believe Pac was a sacrifice, and so was Biggie. The labels, Suge probably know who did Pac. Everybody know everything, but nobody knows nothing. That's how it seems. Let's go.
That made a lot of sense. I mean, sometimes you have to make a deal with the devil in order to get a worse devil. And that's kind of what we did.
Somebody said, I think Pac was an agent. Listen, you don't know who an agent is. That's the point. A lot of these rappers get sworn in. You never know who is who. You just never know who is who. And I'm not saying that Pac was an agent, but I'm saying you never know. Your favorite rapper can be a sworn in operative, a plant. Because that's part of the industry. Since the inception of the industry has been that way.
So the Witness Protection Program, I guess they call it WITSEC for short. He was in that, from what we know, when he was killed October the 31st. So how does that?
So he was killed October 31st under WITSEC. How you under witness protection of the FBI and you get popped like that on Halloween? Are y'all piecing this together? Are y'all seeing how this correlates with Takeoff's death? He was in witness protection under close observation from the FBI. He died on Halloween. Popped. Bullet to the head. Let me tell you something. A lot of Negroes, a lot of street cats. Let me break something down to y'all. A lot of street cats don't shoot people in the head. And I'm going to just say that. A lot of street cats don't just shoot people in the head. There's not too many people who do headshots. You know who do headshots? Trained mercenaries, trained assassins, people who know what they're doing, cold-blooded assassins. And you got all these names getting thrown out that are coming from feds that are saying certain narratives, saying naming this guy and that guy and this guy and that guy. You still see these guys on the internet living their life. Let's continue.
Protect someone, and did he like go outside of the protection of them? Like, is he supposed to like let them know he's going certain places? Like, how does that whole thing kind of work? Because
you have to understand that in Alpo's case, there were two different levels of it.
Okay.
The WITSEC program that he was in when he was in prison was they sent him to actually a separate facility, federal facility, probably somewhere in the United States. I mean, I've been to some of those facilities and
listen. Joshua Fell says, okay, so no one in the hood ever got headshots, laughing my ass off. Okay, Joshua, is that what I said? Is that what I said? Did I say, this is the idiocy I'm talking about with our people. Did I say that no one in the hood ever got headshots? What I said is unlikely that guys in the hood are going to be taking headshots. It's not likely. Most guys in the hood are going to aim for the torso, which is the biggest target, unless you're an individual who's been in that range, putting in that work. See, you're not listening. I worked in the firearms industry. I've trained people to shoot. People who aim for the head, they've been in that range. They put in that work. We don't know from what range they shot Takeoff, because to be totally frank with you, when you listen to the video, it sounds like it came from a distance. It sounds like it came from a distance. And I'm only going based on the footage. And if it did come from a distance, then somebody was trained. We don't know because a lot of that footage we see, I believe, is edited and doctored up to confuse people. Remember, the video was called Messy. They want everything to be messy.
They're connected with some of the regular penitentiaries, but they're, obviously protected from everybody else. The only other people that he will see is other people cooperating. So that keeps them safe.
Exactly. There's another thing. Or it either was muffled or silenced. Now, if it was a silencer on that gun, that goes to prove that it was what, ladies and gentlemen? Because it did sound like it had a potato in the barrel. If it was a silencer on it, that goes into it being what? Premeditated. Who gonna come up in there with the silencer unless they fitting to use it? Right?
While they're incarcerated, they serve their time and pretty much have the same facilities, but they stay in prison. That's run by the Bureau of Prisons. The WITSEC program that you hear about on TV, the program, for example, that Sammy the Bull Gravano, do you know who I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
He was in the WITSEC unit or program from the Marshal Service. And that program is a different animal.
You listen, a lot of these rappers that are in the industry, a lot of these bodyguards, a lot of these shooters, a lot of these street cats, they all part of WITSEC. And the FBI knows that they got bodies, and the FBI be knowing that these people are dangerous to our community. They know that these people are a danger to the community, but they just oversee them. They let them loose. And they let Negroes deal with Negro problems on their own.
It's a series of rules that you have to follow. And if you don't follow them, you immediately get kicked out. And then boom, it's like, no, you're done and we're never going to use you again. When I heard, I guess a year or two ago, that he was driving around New York City, that just indicated to me that he's not in the program anymore. We're not allowed, FBI agents weren't allowed to know whether somebody stayed in the program or left or whatever.
Now he's claiming that he didn't know whether he was in the program or not. That doesn't sound true. How could he not be under your protection and you don't know it?
That's a rule that we have to follow. We don't have any connection to him. The only way we can talk to somebody in the WITSEC program that's run by the Marshal Service is to go back to the original prosecutor and ask that prosecutor to get us in touch with the guy. And then they might set up some third-party location where we could go interview him. But in that program, if that's what he was in when he was released, which I think he should have been, they would have never allowed him to go to New York. Right. It wasn't even every rule that I ever heard of in the WITSEC program in the Marshal Service, that would have been an immediate disqualifier for him.
Unless it was time. If it was his time, it was his time.
So if somebody says he was in the program,
because notice beforehand, he says, they really wasn't using him like that anymore. He wasn't really following the close confines of the rules. So they wasn't using him as much, which goes to show all you rappers out there, all you people who think you connected, you locked in. Listen, let me explain this. You could be next. You could be next, no matter how plugged in you think you are, no matter how many connections you think you got. In that rap game, in that dirty ass, filthy ass, demonic industry, anybody can get hit at any time. Anybody can get hit at any time, especially if they're done with you. If your purpose is up, whether you're not selling the same amount of records no more, or pretty much, you're not snitching, you ain't giving certain information, or whatever the case may be, your value is went down and you worth more dead than alive, anybody can get hit at any time. A lot of y'all rappers in the industry should be paranoid right now because any of y'all can get it. Y'all should be trying to give y'all souls to the Most High and get up out of there. You could be the biggest rapper in the game. You on top of the world one day, and the next day you in the bottom of the ground. Time to get up out of that satanic energy. Get away from it because it's treacherous. Anybody can get it at any time.
And when he left, I don't know. I would guess that he wouldn't be. Could he have another name that they got?
Here we go. Alpo was pretty much an urban legend in the streets, the boogeyman, the man with all the bodies. He was like Shao Kahn out here. And he worked for the feds. Protected. He was protected, and he was a killer. But guess what? On Halloween night, what happened? The devil came to collect, which means anybody can get it.
For him before he left, yeah. Could he have been living under an assumed name with some kind of protected address? All that's possible. But a lot of it was his own resources and his own decision. That would be how I would view it. I'm not up to date on it. I'm certainly have no inside information on how he was being handled. And that's kind of what it is.
Well, here's the thing. You were the operative for Wayne Perry. You were only in communication with Alpo a certain amount of times. You wasn't the operative that was in charge of him. So better believe whoever was know what happened. You only can give us information based on secondhand knowledge.
It's a program that really tries to keep the witnesses secure. So in the case of Sammy the Bull Gravano, for example, he went out west to Seattle, Washington, and he was supposed to stay out there. But Sammy couldn't avoid criminal activity, and he started selling steroids or something out there. I have no idea what.
Yo, if everybody is in the chat is learning anything, do me a favor and pound that like button. Do me a favor and pound that like button. Thank y'all. I appreciate it. Thanks for the support. The agents, you don't have to push the like button. It's all good.
And he got locked up again. So I mean, that's what happens. Is if the only life you know is how to commit, crime, no matter how concerned you are about your personal safety, a lot of times that that old bad stuff takes over and you do something stupid. Right. In Alpo's case, I feel for his family. I just wish that he would have been smart enough to stay away from.
You feel for his family after he done destroyed many other families, selling drugs to the community, terrorizing our community. You feel bad for his family. What about all the families that this drug dealer ruined? What about all the people he killed? What about all the fathers that he took from their children? What about all the murders? Here we have an FBI agent talking about he feels sorry for this man's family, to show you the connection, to show you the relationship between the feds and these devils that we have in our community. Just to show you the relationship. I have to paint that for you. And then we're going to go to another source. I want to go to Queen's Flip and Jay Prince interview because it was very, very telling. Very telling. And it was done over a year ago, but now it makes sense.
From New York. I think he would have probably survived then. But if I just don't know how intent on revenge, if that's what the case was. If it was some kind of revenge from somebody locally in your town or somebody.
Let's say hypothetically it was revenge. The man killed over 14 people. You don't think that person deserves retribution? He got out of jail in 30 years? Actually, I think it was less than 30 years. He's back roaming the streets, popping willies on motorcycles, enjoying himself, living his best life after assassinating half the block. And you concerned. So will we sit up here and think that the Fed's going to come down and figure it out and start arresting people for the death of Takeoff? Man, y'all don't know nothing about how this game works. Because I see a lot of people saying the Fed's coming, the Fed's coming. If the Feds were coming, they would have came. What are they waiting for? They would have got them that night when they seen that speeding SUV coming out of the back of that bowling alley. They would have got them that night when, listen, they would have told us what shell cases it was. You got all these guns on camera from all these people that was in that bowling alley, and the police have yet to release a statement telling us what kind of gun was used in the death of Takeoff. And we really believe, like, did we really believe they're trying to figure out who did this to that young man? We really believe that. Yeah, Duke the jeweler, another one who just got lined up allegedly at a dice game. You got some of the same faces in this dice game and still no arrest. You think the feds don't know what's going on? They have a relationship with these people a lot of the times. The Prince family allegedly have a really good relationship with the feds. In fact, I will go as far as to say that they're allegedly sworn in. Allegedly.
Somebody that knew him from here, some friend of Wayne Perry's, for example, whoever it might be that decided to kill him. If it was revenge, the way to avoid being killed under those circumstances is just go and keep a low profile. And I don't think he was doing that.
Yeah, y'all know who did that. Y'all know who got Alpo. He went on Halloween. Y'all know who did that. So you don't know if he was in WICSEC or not, huh? Real convenient. But that was your boy, though. Now I want to go to Queen's Flip and Jay Prince Jr.'s interview.
I went out my way, which I didn't have to. You did what I'm saying? I ain't have to do this. I could have just stayed up under that umbrella. I ain't have to do this.
So let's go back.
They wanted to create my own legacy up under our umbrella. Like I never discredited what it is that we came from or what my father accomplished, but I always wanted to create my own legacy at the same time. You dig what I'm saying?
And his legacy is quote unquote mob ties. So Jay Prince Sr., he built rap a lot. And this young man, Jay Prince Jr., he adds mob ties to it. Somebody said this ninja slow. Yeah, it's hard for me to follow him talking, yo. You burn brain cells trying to listen to this dude. He's one of those guys that trying to sound more intelligent than he is. But listen, one thing that I learned from BMF, the Black Mafia family, when it comes down to the feds, and this is how we know BMF were really doing a thing without feds. This is how we know. BMF, Black Mafia family, Big Meech, they was really moving weight. They was really doing it. They had unity. There was no beef within their congregation, their group, and they were very organized. But let me tell you what got BMF in trouble. What got them to start getting watched by the feds? You know what it was? Actually putting a title on them. Actually naming themselves BMF, Black Mafia Family. Now, when you put mafia in your name, better believe they're going to start watching. If you put mob in your name and you this organized syndicate, they're going to be watching. Feds are going to be watching. That's what put BMF under the radar. Somebody said being too flashy. No, it wasn't that. They were still under the radar, even though Big Meech was in the clubs. Big Meech was partying. He was known to party. But what really put them under the radar is when they start calling themselves BMF. Because at first they were just out here moving. See, when you title it and you put an organization to it, hold up, Black Mafia Family. Hold on, we already got, that's Patriot Act. Exactly. McDonald know what's up. That's Patriot Act. Soon as you put a title to what you doing, the feds is watching. They watching. Yeah, so that put them under observation. That put them under scrutiny from the FBI because they don't like organization. Now, the Italian mob, whatever type of mob, certain names you can't say on here, but there's a lot of mafias, there's a lot of mobs. The feds know who they are too, but they work with the feds. allegedly. So what makes mob ties any different from BMF? You're an organized group and you putting yourself out there. Let's go.
And so I always made sure niggas respected what needed to be respected. But I created a whole entity, a whole nother entity for niggas to respect. And people from the city, they know this, like, or people from the South, like, or people all over the world. It's just a bunch of people who ain't in tune. But the ones in tune, they know that I went out my way, which I didn't have to. You did what I'm saying? I ain't have to do this. I could have just stayed up under that umbrella. I ain't had to do this. But I went out my way.
You notice how this guy says a whole lot, but he don't be saying a damn thing?
To create mob ties. You know what I'm saying? I went out my way to create an entity for me to be respected, or an entity that I created on my own without no help. So I went out my way and created this and made sure it was respected in the same fashion. Now, you know, mob ties being screamed all over the world, everybody respect me.
Facts.
All the rap, every city, state to state. I got guys.
You know those kind of people that when you talk to them, you could tell that they putting on a persona. It's like they're trying to be something that they're not. It's like, be you, do you, embrace who you are. You know, it's like they put on this alter ego and you can just see right through them. Like, it's crazy.
Guys everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's a foundation that come up under rap a lot.
I'm asking you a real question though, and I'm gonna be respectful. And don't take this as any disrespect.
I mean, just don't be disrespectful.
Well, a lot of my questions tend to be, but I want to be honest. There was a guy that got mad at me that's from Houston, right? He was a supporter, and he used to come to me about saying, why you interview rats, because why you talk about rats or shining lights on rats. Now, I told him that there was a guy, and he said that I threw a shot at you guys, but I told him that there was a guy that moved from Brooklyn to Houston that passed away that snitched on somebody in Brooklyn.
Now, whoa, Queen's Flip just brung some real stuff out just now. He's saying, hold on, man, there's an artist in your camp that's a known snitch. He snitched on somebody in Brooklyn. He moved back to Houston. And why did y'all embrace this person when we know he snitched? We got paperwork. We know what happened. See, I'm telling you, this is interesting because even some of the rappers, they own paperwork who's under these labels, right? Let's continue.
A rapper that was signed to you guys.
Who might be?
The midget.
You know who it is.
I forgot.
Bushwick.
Bushwick Bill.
You gotta watch how you speak on him. He just passed away.
Well, if he passed away, but if he snitched and that's against the street code, then why he can't call it out? So he's asking, why did y'all let Bushwick Bill come in when we know that he snitched on somebody, right? Rest in peace, Bushwick Bill. Shout out to the Ghetto Boys. We grew up listening to it. We could separate the music from the actual characters that's making the music. New Glip, thank you for the $5 contribution. Says, what man create an entity to draw respect? Nah, you gonna respect me. Laughing my A off. Right. He had to create an entity to get respect. That's real talk, bro. Like, we got to get out of that hood booger mentality. Calling ourselves mob and mafia and gang ties and mob tie. Like, man, you's a grown man, bro. I remember when y'all remember when he was beefing with 6ix9ine, bro. J Prince Jr. was beefing with 6ix9ine, bro. It was hilarious. We talking about a bunch of 30-plus-year-old grown-ass men marching down the street talking about, where's 6ix9ine at? Where's 6ix9ine at? Where's 6ix9ine at? Do you know how goofy and weird that looks? It's sad. Like we gotta grow up as men. One weakness about a lot of black men is they always feel like they gotta be a part of something. It's like nobody want to stand their own. Like everybody gotta feel like they are part of something. It's time to be men, man. Grow the hell up. Yeah, a whole mob boss marching down the street with a bunch of people. Got the camera phone. What's 6ix9ine at? Y'all gotta look that up after this. It was hilarious. All right, let's go.
You can't say
that's what I just said. That's what I just said. You know, he passed away, and condolences. But this is what I told. I don't know. You know, he thought I was throwing, you know, shots at, you know, you.
Why he ain't answer the question? Why y'all let him in y'all camp if y'all know he snitched and y'all part of the mob? Let's go.
Guys,
Who he snitched on?
Snitched on a guy. He snitched on a guy named from Fort Greene. He snitched on my man Mario.
Y'all know who he snitched on. Stop acting like y'all ain't working with them people. Y'all know. Y'all allegedly know who that man snitched on. Let's go.
Machete got paperwork, and it was in the song. You know, I had Mario Machete on. I had Mario Machete on my show, and you know he did 25 years behind that. And he said that he said it was actually he said he didn't snitch on him. He said he lied on him, and then he played a song where they referenced lied to a judge and all that. Like they have a whole thing, and he's trying to get his name exonerated. And since rest in peace, since Bushwick passed away, he said,
you think Jay Prince Jr. ain't know that? And if Jay Prince Jr. didn't know that, Jay Prince Sr. surely knew that. To show you how wicked these guys can be, when Bushwick Bill got shot in the eye, when he shot himself in the eye, you know what Jay Prince said? And this is from the accounts of Scarface. Let's go down to that hospital, take a photo of Bushwick Bill with his eyeball hanging out of the socket, and we're gonna make that the album cover. So when we talk about opportunists, these are the head honchos of opportunism. These are the wolves in the community. While this man hanging on for dear life, they wanted to take pictures to put it on the album cover. That's Jay Prince Sr. that did that. So you can't tell me, listen, I believe he knew that Bushwick Bill snitched. Didn't matter. He was a good rapper. He was popular. The man was a midget. He exploited him. Let's just keep it a buck. It was exploitation of Bushwick Bill. Y'all exploited a midget that can rap, who had one eye.
There was 3 people that told him, so he's trying to get exonerated by somebody else. But the point I brought that up is that because the guy from Houston, he was saying that I disrespected you guys, but it wasn't. He was saying I'm talking about rats, but I'm saying that there was a guy that, you know, Bushwick Bill that was accused of telling, you know, on a guy named Mario Machete.
Everybody entitled to opinion, and sometimes everybody can be woke up to something.
Respect.
We ain't never gonna discredit nobody for having an opinion nor stating facts when the facts might be true. Now, I ain't gonna discredit no facts. If they true, they true. Like, I ain't gonna try to pretend like something fake and it's real. If it's real, it's real.
So your pops knew that Bushwick Bill was snitching, and you're not denying it. So how many other people in your? This is what I gotta ask. If y'all mob ties, if y'all rap a lot, if y'all solid, how many other people are possibly snitching? How many other people in your group are possibly working with police? Because if it was built on connections with law enforcement, then it still stands on it, whether you made an umbrella under an umbrella or not.
But even if it's real, if it's real, I don't think it. To you, it would. He passed away. It wouldn't take anything for what he did or the movement that he was a part of.
I mean, that's cool, but this is the thing. He didn't make the movement he was a part of. He was a part of the movement that made him. Okay, so it ain't never.
I mean, of course, he ain't never. You a slick guy. You got slick ass.
Yeah, he ain't never gonna discredit what he was a part of, because what he was a part of made him.
That don't make no sense. Your chain is only strong as its weakest link. If you got a person that's snitching in your group, then the whole group loses credibility. That's how the streets work. If you got somebody in your group is snitching, that whole group loses credibility because he in your group. Why you think on the show Power, Rock, anytime somebody is even questioned about snitching, Rock is trying to take them out immediately because that's how it works in the streets. But a lot of people don't really live to know street code. This Jay Prince Jr. dude, he's not a street dude. He's making up the rules as he goes on. Literally, when you listen to this guy talk, he's making the rules up as he go. He doesn't understand the nature of the beast. He just playing a role because he wants to be accepted. He wants to build an image for himself, and he wants popularity, and he wants attention. That should be evident. You can clearly tell that this man is ego driven, and he don't know the inner workings of the streets. Clearly, he didn't have to live that life. We talking about if Silver Spoon had a face, this is Silver Spoon right here. Rap-A-Lot Records. Your family are millionaires. And this man's IQ has to be real low, real low. Let's go.
Just happened to be a part of some real shit. They ended up making him bigger and better than what he was.
Respect.
But he ain't got nothing to do with him paving the way for nothing.
Respect. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The way was already paid for him.
That was a smooth answer. You're pretty good.
It was real.
It was fake. It's a smooth answer. Yeah, you're pretty good.
I know. You're pretty good. I give you compliments. You're pretty good, man. You don't have to be rough and tough with me.
Nah, I'm just being silent, nigga. This just me.
Yeah, well, and I reciprocate the solidness. What I'm saying is that, and I'm happy that you said that because, even though the man is trying to get his name exonerated, what you said is real. You know what I mean? What you said is real. Like you ain't taking no credit, but you don't really know the truth. But the man has proof. He has proof that happened.
That's cool. They ain't got nothing to do with the legacy. See, people try to.
They don't got nothing to do with the legacy. Yeah, dude. If you had a snitch in your group, it does have something to do with the legacy of Rap-A-Lot. Sure it does. Let's go. Let's fast forward a little bit.
Different type of loop. You in the industry loop. Now we talking about a different type of loop where they had no idea what's really transpiring. And they don't even matter. Like majority of the people with an opinion ain't got no money. And they ain't got no.
Hold on, let's go.
So people try to intertwine bullshit with real shit and really don't even matter. It doesn't matter even more so because they had no idea what's really transpiring.
Understood.
They ain't in the loop. And you understand this now, you being in the industry. So you done made your way inside the loop. Yeah, you ain't know what was really going on before you got in the loop. Now you got friends and family. Now you dealing with niggas who in the loop. Now we talking about a different type of loop. You in the industry loop. Now we talking about a different type of loop.
Let's talk about that industry loop because the industry is a whole nother ball game. Now, see how this conversation went to the industry. See, the industry has a different set of rules. The industry is not the streets. Let me repeat. The industry is not the streets. It's not ran the same way. In the industry, there's a lot of feds. There's a lot of hip hop police. There's a lot of snitches. Some of your biggest rappers are snitches. Come on now. The rules are different in that loop. In that circle is different. All right, let's go.
You can move city to city, state to state, and all the street niggas embrace you. Now, I ain't talking about the regular guys. I'm talking about the guys. Everybody embrace.
He said, I'm not talking about the regular guys. I'm talking about the guys. What guys? What guys? He said, not just the regular street dudes. Yeah, they'll embrace you, but there's other people. He's pointing to other entities, other individuals at play, other people in the industry. The guys, as he calls them. We talking about the overseers.
Everybody know who you are. Everybody, as soon as you touch their land, hey man, you good. Da, da, da. You know, that's a different type of loop. The same type of loop that you dealing with now when you dealing with your with your celebrity. How you say this shit is? Nah. Celebrity,
I got you.
Or whatever I'm talking about.
I got you.
When you move to different cities, now you can reach out.
Somebody said Fed ties. Yeah, we got Fed ties. Because y'all was soliciting and whatever transpired. Like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? Let's go, though, because this gets interesting.
The different celebrities and be like, hey, man, I'm in your city.
That's a fact.
Okay. Think about that on a different scale.
Okay, what scale?
Okay, them doors opened up for you. These doors been opened up for us. Now we can move cities. No, freeze, please. You know it's two different things. Calm down. Now
wait, hold on. Why you gotta talk like? What's up with you, man? You got a way of talking, man.
Queen's Flipper, funny dude, bro.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying, bro.
I'm just giving you an understanding based upon your message.
Okay, so you're saying there's two different levels?
I'm telling you, it's two different things. It's two different things from being a celebrity and being in tune to the streets for real.
Got you.
I'm giving you the two different perspectives.
Understood.
So I'm trying to make you differentiate the two to where celebrity shit ain't got nothing to do with the respect that come down the hill.
Yeah, somebody said the video is a couple years old. I know that. I said that before I started playing it, but it's still very revealing and you get to see what's going on. It's a very telling interview. Somebody said Fed Flintstone. Yo, y'all wild for that. If y'all can get through his word vomit, we're going to get to some pivotal points. I don't know why anybody would want to interview this guy. I heard people saying they wanted to interview him now. Listen, after what just happened, seeing as how he stepped over Takeover's body, you got all these outlets looking to interview Jay Prince Jr. right now, just to show you how scandalous and treacherous the game is. Now, anybody else that get caught on camera while there's a crime being committed, step over a body like the way he did Takeoff, they're going to be arrested. But to show you how wicked this industry is, people are just trying to look at the opportunity of getting him on the show. Now, peep that. This young man's death is becoming a reality show. A whole reality show, just to show you that a lot of moral degradation is involved in this. Crazy times, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's a bunch of niggas with more power. I mean, not more power, but more influence or more money than us.
Who are you talking about? He said there's certain people that got more power, more influence, and more money than us. Yo, who is he talking about? He's talking about the industry. He's talking about the regular street cats. And then he's talking about these other entities. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this, he's telling you exactly how the industry get down. Yes, the Boule, the secret society, the Masons, the feds, the controllers, the puppet masters, the so-called powers that be. He's not telling you who, but he's saying, yo, it's regular street cats. But listen, mob ties, we embraced by everybody. We embraced by people that y'all don't see. Y'all got to be liking this video, man. I'm bringing y'all that heat right now. I'm putting this into a way that everybody can understand. Y'all got to thumb this video up, man. Share this video, like the video. This is some facts being brung out.
When it come down to being a celebrity, but they ain't got the respect that we got, so they can't move how we move.
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to know how to differentiate the two, respect and notoriety.
Understood. I have another question for you. What do you feel about checking in?
Here we go.
That whole checking in theory.
How do you feel about checking in? That whole checking in theory. It's not a theory. For the record, checking in is extortion. These rappers are being extorted. Let's just call it like it is. We're not going to play these games, check in, and you just got to make connections with people. It's just showing respect. Let's not play games. These people are extorting these rappers. Let's go.
What is your opinion on checking in?
People at the end of the day, people get checking in misconstrued. When we say checking in, and we don't even tell niggas to check in. We don't tell niggas to check in. What I say is when I go to another nigga city and I got respect for certain niggas, I reach out to them. Majority of the time it's because I got a relationship with them already. But even if I don't have a relationship with them already, instead of me being who I am.
Are y'all making Justin Bieber, Britney Spears, and all the white people, are they checking in? Do they got to check in when they come to your city? Do any white artists got to come check in? That's the question I got. Why do rappers got to check in? You telling me that our own people ain't safe around our own people unless we reach out to y'all and give y'all something. A lot of times they be wanting people to do shows for free. They be wanting people to attend certain events that they don't want to go to. They be wanting people to do things that they don't want to do. It's extortion. It feels good to be a grown ass man to go wherever I want to go, and I ain't got to worry about checking in.
And standing for what we stand for. Instead of me going to another nigga city and bumping heads with them and end up having to go to war, I'd rather reach out to them or to a representative of their camp and be like, hey, man, y'all open the doors for us out here. You know what I'm saying? Because if I don't say y'all open the doors for us out here, then we might end up being in the same situation. Both of us have big heads. Both of us stand.
Mr. Breed keeps saying to hit the like button because he has to validate his existence here with YouTube money. You just earned yourself a block. You see, this is the problem with our people. That's the next man. They always worried about how the next man is getting his bread. I'm a content creator. I'm supposed to make revenue for making content. These are the same individuals who want to see people check in. Why are we such crabs? Why are we such crabs with our people? Why we don't want to see our people do anything good for themselves? This is the whole mentality behind checking in. Why can't the money that individual earned from being a rapper and doing their shows, getting their shows booked, why can't they just go live their life and make a living for themselves? Why do our people always try to intervene with a person's living? I don't understand that. This is why we can't never make nothing of ourselves. This mentality right here, the pocket watching. Oh, I know this person, that artist got this much jewelry. I know this person doing that. And y'all some crabs. Y'all envious, jealous. We always are being scavengers with our own people, but nobody else got to check in. Don't you know that there are content creators out here that are Asian, that are Caucasian, that are making way more loot, way buku cash on YouTube, doing simple things. And you don't see now one content, you don't see no one troll come up in their comment section from their race talking about how much money they make. You don't see that. You know why? Because they're fans of their work. It's only our people. And I think this is what goes behind this whole check-in mentality. Everybody want to extort each other. It's crazy.
And for what we stand for, and we just so happen to get into it with somebody in a clique. You know what I'm saying? Now we just started a whole war instead of just reaching a hand out to a nigga environment. When we in the nigga environment and being like, hey man, we out here. Y'all show us y'all city. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't want to have no problems with y'all.
So they claiming that they go check in places as well, and they don't want to have problems with other cities. That's how he's wording it, because he's trying to make it seem like that's just part of the culture to check in. And for the record, I'm not checking in nowhere, and neither should anybody. Just move how you move, do what you do. Don't always let people know where you at, and make your moves. Turn those locations off. Be about your business. I actually respect how Tekashi was like, I ain't checking in with nobody. because that's what that whole beef started. Because Tekashi didn't want to check in, and we know Tekashi's a Fed too, but so are a lot of the other rappers. But why would he check in with y'all when he a Fed too? He has no reason to check in with y'all. So a lot of these beefs be staged too.
But do you think
not that we scared of having problems with y'all, because we ain't scared of having problems. It's just we trying to avoid them. So if we can avoid a problem and gain access to a lot because y'all already got y'all city on smash, then why not reach out to the individual and try to get that same love that they get? You do what I'm saying? I tell people all the time, relationships are worth more than money. Relationships worth more than money. It can be niggas with a bunch more money than us. And you know this now, nigga. It's niggas who got a bunch more money than you. But you got the relationships with the right people. They can't move with them people the way you move with them.
That's a fact. Yeah.
They can't move with them the way you move with them because you have relationships. So I'm all about creating relationships, and even relationships that we
see. They claiming it's just family bonds, connected, creating relationships. It's all about superiority. It's all about ego. It's all about getting their hands in other people's pot. It's all about that. And there's a fraternal order. There's a secret society. This is an organization that ain't just rappers. There's certain groups involved in all of this. And and I'm in hopes that these people are arrested. I'm in hopes that these individuals are held accountable for the demise of Takeoff. But in all honesty, ladies and gentlemen, looking at everything that's going on, it's highly unlikely that Fed cases are going to be ran on people. It's highly unlikely that anybody's going to be incarcerated behind this. It's just not likely based on all the evidence that's been presented so far. Somebody said, like the relationship, LOL, like the relationship between you and Takeoff. I don't understand what that means. There's some weird I have a lot of trolls in here, a lot of weirdos in this building. Like, what's going on? Did we lose focus? Yeah, there's a lot of strange energy in here. What's going on? Do y'all not understand what's being said? Or I mean, where do these people come from? We Just Talking says, look at our concerts, look at our events, look at our neighborhoods, look at our majority of our communities. It's drama, it's fights, it's shooting, always negative energy. Been in a white suburbs for 25 years. Good for you. Good for you. Because you got to get away from our people because something's wrong with them. Something's extremely wrong with them. All right, let's fast forward a little bit. You seen the answer he gave about checking in. Let's see. There's a couple other talking points. Let's get to it.
very well. What about you?
Nah.
I give a nigga the opportunity to earn my trust. But yeah, they ain't giving away.
You know what
So, just like Takeoff earned your trust, just like you earned the trust of the Migos, you earned the trust of Takeoff for him to attend your event. You give people the opportunity to earn your trust. What about those young men that were trusting in you to protect them at your birthday party, at your event? What about those young men? Because Takeoff, he ain't coming home. Because he trusted y'all. This is why I'm saying stay away from our people. Once you make something of yourself, you become successful. Man, listen, you put your best foot forward. You keep your eyes on the prize and keep on moving. You ain't obligated to deal with nobody in these streets with this hood booger retarded mentality.
You know what I learned about you? Nobody can mix your words up because you're a direct guy. Yeah.
That ain't true at all.
You're not going to have other conversations. You're direct. Very direct, and Straightforward. I can respect that. You know what I mean? Also said, but you just said that you got to stand on it. If I'm joking,
You know what I'm saying?
have
Like,
you ever saw any of my interviews before? Sat there and, you know, when you came on my platform, you always showed me respect. I got to say this. You know, you actually, I plug, now you can be connected to the work to get the money. But people are not understanding what I'm saying. I know it's going to go over your heads, but I could have said it a better way to explain it. But I'm just making y'all understand. We keep shutting certain shit down, bro.
I think this is the other brother. This is Junior right here. This the other brother right here. Let's see what he got to say. Because if I'm not mistaken, was it his birthday party? These guys look just alike, bro. They look just alike. I think this is the brother. Let me make sure. Yeah, that's the brother right here. Let's see what he got to say. Because it's a family affair, right?
When he was like, when y'all was talking about the crack in the bucket, and he said, I'm not in the barrel. That's real shit, bro. Like, niggas don't understand what that means. You know what I'm saying? He's saying, I'm not trapped like you, dog. I'm not trapped like you. You know what I'm saying? So you can't put me in no cylinder. You got to get me. So when I hear all this dumb shit that niggas in the comments, why y'all niggas, this is why we won't succeed as a people, dog. Because we don't listen to real shit.
That's not him. Who is this? Who is this, y'all? I don't know who this guy is. Somebody said he passed away from AIDS. Are you serious? King Face from New York. Okay, so this is another guy that he just let on. Okay. I thought, man, he looks just like Jazz Prince. He looked like Jay Prince, don't he? Y'all telling me these guys look identical, bro. Damn. But it is what it is, man. I wanted y'all to hear that. Like, this is a cover-up. There's no way they don't know who got Takeoff out of there. There's no way. There's no way. I believe that this is a huge cover-up. The feds should have came down on people. Local law, hell, we didn't even have to take it to the feds. Local law enforcement should have been able to charge somebody. Nobody's been charged with anything. That's the most troubling part of all of this. Nobody has been charged with anything. There's no pending charges. There's no warrants. There's no nothing. We don't even know what gun was used. Like, it just screams industry cover up, one of the biggest. And what makes it one of the biggest is it's the messiest. You got all this footage going around. You got all these different narratives being put out there. And we know that bowling alley has more video cameras and there's more that meets the eye, but nobody's been arrested. Nobody knows who sped off in that van, in that SUV. With all the technology we have, it just screams industry cover up. It screams blood sacrifice. It screams ritual. My theory is, because I am allowed to have a theory, that based on that video, that music video that dropped on Halloween, you know, the same video where Quavo goes up in the elevator with the exact time of death written at the bottom of the screen, along with camera 3, which allegedly Takeoff died on the 3rd floor. Y'all could say that's all conspiracy. You could say that, you know, I'm a lunchbox out here and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You could say that all day. But the spirit that's moving in me, my discernment, my wisdom of how the streets work and how things operate in that industry, everything is telling me that it was a blood sacrifice. A straight up blood sacrifice. And also what's being shown is the feds, CIA, FBI, all of these individuals, they're part of the industry as well. They're all part of the industry. They're out here trying to turn young men into nihilists. They're trying to turn people into, you know, to turn the chaos. It's predictive programming. The streets ain't going to be the same when certain laws pass, and it will be no police interference with the streets. It'll be too much activity going on with the world they're trying to create through this communism, through this demoralization. The product of demoralization in a society makes irrational, illogical people. People who cannot piece together what's true. And that's what they're doing. It's psychological warfare on the masses. This whole ritual is bringing out psychological warfare on the masses. So people can't use their mind to piece this together. They're all in on it. The industry is wicked. Stay away from the industry. If you're going to do your music, do it on your own merit. Put it out on the platforms you want to put it out on, and do what you're going to do. Do what you're going to do. Don't get caught up in this gangbanger mentality. Don't get caught up in none of this nonsense. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully y'all gain some understanding here in this live stream. If you did, make sure you share this everywhere. Feel free to piece certain talking points if you would like. Post it on various social media platforms. Listen, it's been an honor to build with like-minded people. That I know we had a lot of trolls in the chat. I will be giving out more wrenches because we got to get rid of those trolls. I realize there's different people gravitating towards the platform, which is cool, because at the end of the day, you're going to get some truth. And we got to understand who we are, turn to the scriptures, turn to the Bible, turn to the law, statutes, and commandments, understand our identity. Ye and Kyrie Irving been putting it out there. Start digging deeper into your studies. Follow the Most High. Forget mob ties. We dealing with the Most High's ties. And that's what it is, man. More content coming. All praises to the Most High. Thank y'all. With that being said, shalom and peace.